On this episode of the Red and Gold Report, we're going to be updating you on the Orlando Brown contract situation, a former Chiefs retirement, and some wide receiver news. So, first up in Chiefs news, as expected, franchise left tackle Orlando Brown and the Chiefs did not reach an extension agreement before the deadline last Friday. Now, Adam Schefter reported that the Chiefs' final offer to Orlando was a 6-year deal worth $139 million with a $23.16 million a year average and $30.25 million signing bonus. And you know what? That would have been monstrously insane. And yes, you'll hear other rumored numbers out there that are a bit different because it's not like the team is going to officially report about a contract that just got rejected, right? An offer that just got rejected. However, Ian Rappaport is reporting that the final year of the 6-year proposed deal had a $40 million salary. So yeah, that's a fake year, meaning what the offer really was, if these rumors are true, was a $91 million 5-year deal. Adam Schefter reported $95 million over the first 5. So let's just say $18 to $19 million a year in that offer. Now, had Orlando accepted that offer, he would have been the 8th highest paid offensive tackle in the league, but his on-field play falls into the 25th to 30th best tackle ranking. So had Brown accepted this offer, he would have been fairly overpaid. But I understand why the Chiefs made this offer. Locking up your 26-year-old starting left tackle is really important. However, while Brown is an above average left tackle, his on-field play simply has not merited being paid like the 8th best tackle in the league. Not even close. So, unsurprisingly, NFL Network's Jeffrey Chadia has reported that behind the scenes, the Chiefs brass are not happy with Orlando. And they shouldn't be. I mean, they traded a first rounder for him last year. They gave up, they gave him the left tackle spot on a great team, then offered him a contract bigger than what he deserved on the field after he didn't quite play up to expectations. So I'd be frustrated with the guy too. And in my frustration, I have to say that I would really rather have a team full of guys who are motivated by winning in KC, winning another Super Bowl, winning some games, being on a team, than motivated by trying to eke out every dime they have not earned. But wow, man, looking at it just from Orlando's perspective, I got to say, he's taking a massive risk. He is taking a huge bet. He will actually make less money this year on the franchise tag than the $18.2 or $19 million average that proposed contract would have given him. I mean, think of all that needs to happen for this risk to pan out in Brown's favor. So first, he has to avoid injury. Yes, this year, if he ever gets around to actually signing the franchise tag, would be guaranteed against injury. But that's just 1 year. So if he gets injured this year, what happens? No one's going to give him a massive contract next offseason coming off an injury. So first, he's got to avoid an injury, right? Second, he needs to actually play significantly better during the season. And that also includes getting serious about his physical conditioning this offseason, which he never has been. And then third, he'd also somehow have to avoid being franchise tagged again next year, right? Which is out of his control. So yeah, Orlando really took a risk in not signing that proposed contract. It was a very fair contract. Taking it, not taking it, man, that's taking a huge risk. But for all of us in Chiefs Kingdom, well, outside of a possible media issue or Brown not showing up till halfway through the season, which is possible, I don't see the downside here for the Chiefs. Either Brown shows up out of shape, plays worse than he did last year, and we just dodged a bullet and are justified in not caving and giving him a bigger contract, or Brown shows up, plays well, we franchise tag him again next offseason, offer him a different contract with more money, confidence that he'll live up to it, or trade him away. So what do we lose here? I know outside of the possibility of him causing problems in the locker room or not showing up, outside of that, what do we lose here? I think at this point, Brown playing on the tag is a big win for the Chiefs as long as he does show up and play. And hey, real quick, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video to get all the best Kansas City Chiefs news and updates. But what happens now in this Orlando Brown contract fiasco? Well, remember, he is not a Chief right now. He's technically not a Chief because he has not signed the tag. He's not under contract. So he will likely wait to sign his 1-year franchise tender for as long as he feels like it, which could be all the way until just after week 10 of the season. But more likely, he will probably show up sometime after training camp, but before like week 2 or 3. That's usually how these things pan out. Now, I am super sure that Orlando Brown watches this channel every single week. I mean, obviously, it's got to be his favorite, right? So let me give you some advice, Orlando Brown. You did all of this. You got yourself traded from the Ravens to the Chiefs. You moved from right to left tackle. You held out. You didn't sign the tag. You didn't sign the extension. Why? Because you want to be paid like the best tackle in all of football. And look, big guy, you're a fine left tackle. You really are. But you're not close to the best tackle in football. And if you choose to not sign this tag and skip training camp and skip preseason and skip a few of the first few games of the season, you are going to show up super out of shape in the regular season. Really, last year, you already looked like you were wearing an inner tube around your waist the whole season, and being in such poor shape is part of why your pass sets are so slow. So, Orlando, you got to know that skipping camp is not going to be helpful for you. It's going to be bad for you, and it's going to be bad for the Chiefs. But if you want to wait to sign your tag and skip workouts and skip camp and skip the preseason and skip some games, here's what's going to happen. You're going to come back in really bad shape. You're going to get beat around the edge for the first half of the season, playing yourself back into shape. You're going to have a worse year in 2022 than you did in 2021. Then nobody in the league is going to want to give you the money that you want in 2023. Well, outside of the Jaguars, they throw money at everybody. But really, dude, just sign the franchise tag tender now. Get in shape this offseason. Work hard. Be a good teammate. Come to camp. Play better next season. And all of your big money dreams, they're going to come true. And on the Chiefs end, well, they have to start thinking about who they put at left tackle if Orlando drags his feet on signing. Really. Now, there's no reason right now to panic, so just keep the depth chart as it is, and maybe give the newly signed Christian a chance to slide into that left tackle spot for camp and preseason. Then, if Christian is not up for it, and if Brown holds out into the beginning of the season, just slide Joe Thuney to left tackle for as long as we need. Really, Allegretti could play guard, maybe Kennard. Those guys will be just fine. Thuney can play left tackle. He'll just be fine. And it might be that our left guard is the best left tackle on our team. Now, in other news, former Chiefs right tackle Mitchell Schwartz has officially retired from the NFL. Now, Schwartz had that nasty back injury. Do you remember that? That ended his 2020 season. He was then released last year when the Chiefs were overmaking the entire offensive line after playing 5 years for our red and gold. Schwartz is still actually only 33 years old, but he stated that, yeah, he still has a lot of nerve issues, some pain in his legs from nerve issues, and it's no longer a daily occurrence. He's getting better, but it may never go away. It was a really serious injury. So he decided to hang up the cleats. I believe Schwartz has been one of the most underrated offensive linemen in the NFL over the last decade. I mean, get this. 9 seasons. He has got 9 seasons in the NFL. During that time, he had 134 consecutive starts. He had a streak of 7,894 consecutive snaps. He won a Super Bowl. He made the PFF 2012 All Rookie Team. He was PFF's top rated offensive lineman overall in 2018. He was a 4-time All Pro selection. Yet, like, how many people really talked about him outside of Kansas City? How many national media people were like, yeah, this is one of the best offensive linemen? So to me, he was incredibly underrated. And I think that all of Chiefs Kingdom should be very thankful for him. And in his statement, he mentioned, I am forever a Chief, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be. Yeah, well, maybe Orlando, you can take a little advice from Schwartz. There's nowhere else you'd rather be than KC. In other news, there's been some chatter about the Chiefs wide receivers lately. So let's talk about a few of these wide receivers that are getting some chatter online. Let's start with Juju Smith-Schuster, who was given the best rating of all the Chiefs wide receivers on Madden, 80 out of 100, the newly released Madden ratings for the Chiefs wide receivers. It's not a shock there. Madden ratings are just hype, and he has the most hype. That brings me to Mecole Hardman, which I'm so done hearing people online saying that, like, this is Hardman's big breakout year as a deep threat. It's not. Look, Hardman's not an elite deep threat. He just isn't. He played best as a slot wide receiver with short throws around the line of scrimmage last year. In 2021, Hardman only had 13 deep targets, not catches. Only 13 deep targets, which was 47th in the league. And his average depth of target was 7.5 yards, which was 82nd in the league. And that's with, freaking Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, right? And little to nothing at wide receiver after Tyreek Hill last year. So people who have no clue about what they're talking about with football just keep looking at his 40 time thinking, he's so fast, he's going to be a great deep threat someday. But he hasn't been yet. So why do people keep bringing this up? I'd love to see him in the slot more. I'd love to see those short throws to him, but he just hasn't been an elite deep threat. Moving on to another wide receiver, some sources are reporting that newly acquired former Packers wide receiver Marquez Valdes-Scantling has been Mahomes' favorite target in offseason workouts. Now, Marquez never quite developed into a number 2 receiver or a number 1 receiver in Green Bay, but it's so important for this season for our Chiefs that he develops rapidly. Really, with Hardman being more of a slot receiver, Juju's speed deficiency, the team is really going to lean heavily on counting that Marquez can be our deep threat. And well, I really hope he does. He certainly has the measurables too. So, well, that about does it for me. But what do you think? Do you think the Chiefs handled the Orlando Brown contract situation well? And how do you think this wide receiver group is going to shake out? Let me know in the comments below. Of course, thanks for watching, and go Chiefs!